and welcome back to We Have a Voice. So, this week I'm going to be talking about my experience in school and tell you a message to teachers about stammering. So, my personal experience with stammering during school was generally quite positive actually. So I personally wasn't bullied and I had quite a supportive friendship group. However, that's not the case for a lot of children and teenagers who stammer through school. They get teased, they get bullied, and it tends to be quite an unpleasant experience. So as much as I wasn't bullied, there were still moments where I would feel really insecure about the fact that I stammered, because, for example, when the teacher was calling out the register at the start of class, there was a noticeable pause before I said I'm here or yes or anything like that, and no one would tease me, but the other kids would turn their heads as if to be like, why isn't she speaking? Well, at least that's what I thought they were saying, and that was actually something that my speech therapist would say to me. She'd be like, why are you trying to read people's minds? And then I was like, yeah, they haven't actually been saying these things to me. That was just me thinking that they were thinking that. And especially because my name was right at the end of the register, so I had the whole register to anticipate my name being called out and to anticipate me possibly stammering. I would actually be saying yes miss or yes sir over and over again in my head until my name was called, to hopefully not stammer whilst saying it. So this isn't 100% school related, but in terms of after school clubs and that type of thing, whenever there was anything related to introducing yourself, there'll be games where you'd say your name, say what school you go to, say an interesting thing about yourself. That would also be another thing that I would completely dread, because again, it's the pressure. It's like I've been repeating things over and over again in my head. And yeah, that would be something that I would hate. And again, no one would literally say anything to me, but I'd be getting weird looks and people thinking that maybe I didn't know my name, or not really quite understanding why I wasn't speaking the same as everyone else. So, part 2, and this is my message to all of you teachers out there. First of all, if you're noticing that a child in your class or a teenager in your class doesn't speak up much, yes, it could be that they're just shy, or they think, there are various other reasons for being insecure about speaking up in class, but also consider that it's possible that they could have a stammer. Number 2, if you are aware of one of your students having a stammer, then do your best not to speak over them. Try not to guess what they're going to say. Don't assume that they don't know the answer. Just do your best to accommodate towards it and make them feel comfortable so that they want to speak in class. So if you're watching this and you're the actual student who has a stammer, try and talk to your teacher and tell them about your situation and any ways that they can help. I know it's not always easy to talk about it, but talking to them is definitely the first step to helping them understand and for everything to be more comfortable for you. For example, I had a situation with a teacher whereby it was in an English A-level class, and we would be asked to read out a paragraph as we're reading through this book, or a poem or anything. We'd be asked to read out a section, and I remember that he was quite noticeably giving me less to read, and it wasn't even like, oh can you read from here to here. It was that I would get to the end of a sentence and he would just like butt in and take over and I don't think he realised how that came across. And I spoke to him after the lesson, and I said, hey, like, I don't want to be treated differently. I know I take longer to speak, but please don't treat me differently. Because obviously that then made me feel really insecure, and it made me feel very like I felt like I stood out. That he was obviously giving me less to read, and he you know, he was probably, in his head, he thought he was probably trying to help me. So that's another reason to talk to your teachers. They're probably doing things where they think they're helping you, but if they're not, then tell them, because you are the only person who knows what's going to help you with your stammer. So if you are a student or a teacher, I really hope this video has helped and given you advice that you needed to help yourself or help a student in your class. Thanks for watching. Bye!